by living there, we were in the Lafontaine area. So our children, I enrolled them in the French school,
Right.
Saint Joseph.
All right. Now, your relationship with Roland Darache, did you track him down?
Well, what
and
happened?
meet him?
What happened? This lady in Midland in Toronto gave me his name. So we moved up in September. I picked the newspaper up mid-December, and here's an article with him mentioned and everything, and I think it even gave his address. And I thought, I'm going in to pay a visit. And that's what I did. So, I discussed my ideas about how I viewed the French community and all this. So Roland, standing at the front door after a while, he said, I think you better come in and sit down. So I think I was there for about 2 hours or so. And I said, I really think there's these various groups like political, ACFO, and then FLAC, and that's the French Language Committee, fighting for French language rights and all this. And I said, but, people in the community sort of know how to get in touch and this sort of thing. I said, but I really feel what you need in this community is a permanent presence. And so, after our discussion about various things, 2 weeks later I had a phone call from Roland saying, well, there's a doctor in town, Dr. Germain Gauthier, who has property down on Water Street across from the Commodore. And one of them, and they're stores, but they're hard to rent. One of them has been vacant for quite a while. He is prepared to give it to us free of charge for a whole year if we have some kind of French activity going on there. So we took it. And then my idea for this center would be to really concentrate on arts and crafts and music, theater, all this sort of thing. That's where I was interested in going. And we decided just after we moved into this, the beginning of January, we opened on the 7th of January, and we had invited the people of the community to come and tell us what they wanted, what their thoughts were for this French cultural center. So that was interesting because the principal of St. Joseph's School said, well, the number one thing I feel we need is a French nursery school. And I thought, what? And she said, we've tried it before, it hasn't worked. I would really like us to have a French nursery school to give our kids a heads up before they go into kindergarten and then into a reading program in grade 1. But we have to find somebody who knows about this. And I thought, I don't believe my ears. This is not the way I think this was going to go.
Because I'm a primary specialist.
Yes. So after they kept throwing names out and everything, I finally confessed and said, well, actually, I'm a primary specialist. I specialized in setting up nurseries, schools, and kindergartens. So that's how it all came about. And then they said, well, where are we going to set it up? And we said, well, right here in the center. We have this, and we have an office at the back. But, well, where are we going to find the money for setting it up? Well, this was all part of my training. Like if you end up teaching in an area where they don't have funds for furnishing a classroom, this is what you can do. You can have, as far as the toys, puzzles and things for children to play with, set up a toy library, because all the parents are going to have these things at home, so they can lend one of their special toys for 2 weeks, and you just keep changing them around. You want to have paper for the children to paint on, newsprint paper. And if you don't have the money to buy actual newsprint, just take a regular newspaper. And kids don't care if there's writing all over it. They're just going to draw their picture over it. So we were trained on how to do this. So the committee that was formed that night said, well, we'd like to start it in 2 weeks. So I had all the mothers sign up ways that they could help and this sort of thing. And 2 weeks later, we opened our first nursery school in Penetanguishene. And right away we heard from Lafontaine saying, well, it's great that they got a nursery school, but what about us?
Oh.
So 2 weeks after that, they opened. And then nursery schools are under the Ministry of Community and Social Services. Suddenly I heard from them and said, hey, you've got the cart before the horse. You're supposed to jump through all these hoops, get zoning, get fire, get this, get that, and then you apply to open your nursery school. And we said, well, we're already running. So they said, well, we better come up and help you get on track. So we had help from Queen's Park. She came up and helped us get all of that sorted out, and then down to Lafontaine, the same thing. So, and then we just had different people who took on being our teachers, and then we ended up having 3 different classes in Penetanguishene. So they would come for 2 half days, 3 times a week. In Lafontaine, it was the same thing. So that gave us 5 full days, and we were able to eventually hire an early childhood education teacher.